It's trying to load. Yeah. So I'm working with 2B. So I'm importing it. So I need to preview what I want to import. So let me see what is in account. This account, the GL transaction. Yeah. So it is the GL transaction that we actually want to work with. But let's import both accounts. So I'm going to say select multiple items. So I'm importing accounts and GL transaction. If you view these notes, there's nothing there. Also the sheet, so nothing there. So that's one of the functions of Power Query. Any folder that you're importing or is importing is going to preview what you want to import first. So the account and GA transaction is what we want to deal with now. So I'm going to click on transform data. So if you see that this is our account, the sheet for accounts, I'm sure nothing is wrong with this because this is GL code, this is GL name, is very okay. But the GL transactions that have occurred, yeah, this is the ID. Okay, these are the dates. They said GL account and transaction description. We talked about. Can you hear me? Hope you're coming along with me, right? Okay. So remember we talked about database normalization, that each column must be showing one attribute. This column now is talking about two attributes, GL account and transaction description. So we need to split it, right? These are the username, then journal and ref. Also for this, we have to split it. We want only journal transactions should be there. We don't want this reference number. Then the amount. For this amount too, I think it's okay, unless let's check what we want to achieve. Okay, the amount, there is no USD there. So we need to remove the USD also. Okay. Then of course we don't need all this long column. We need to delete them off. So let's get started. So the most simplest one first, let's remove other columns that they are not in there. So what are we going to do? I told you earlier that instead of you selecting one by one and start removing the column, you can select the ones that you want to retain. So I want to select all those columns. And we are doing that as I'm doing my own too. So once I'm done, then you can now tell me where you have issues because we have limited time. I want us to finish what I've planned to teach you guys. So I'm going to hold the shift key down, you select the first one. I'm holding the shift key down. Then I'm going to select the first column that I want to select. So you can see that everything has been selected. Are you with me, class? Okay. So then you now say remove columns. Then you click on the drop down. So you click on remove other columns. That is the one selected there, you want to leave it. It's other columns are not that are not selected that you want to remove. So remove other columns. So automatically it has removed all other columns. So remain this ones that you need. So so I want us to ask question after this. Once I finish this one, I can always go back for it so that we can finish faster today and cover what I want to cover. You know. But of course, your question will be addressed. Just be saving, be keeping the question. So let me continue. So now I've retained all these columns I needed to transform. So the next one for me now, you can see that this has it's changed somehow. The ID changed to the other side here, while the amount is here. I want the ID to first here so you can move it. And how do you move? No, trying to rearrange the column. You 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 click on the column, then hold the left click down and try to drag that column. Hope we are getting it. So the ID has been moved, then the date also, same thing. Then okay, the amount, GLREF2. Let's move it. So the amount, journal, then the user. So now, the first thing we have to do is we want to separate this GL account from transaction description. So what we are going to do is that we will split column. That's how to separate. And when we want to split column, you go to transform, then you look for split column under transform. Split column, you this is split column. Under transform tab, look for split column. There's a drop down there. Click on the drop down. There are now various form of ways to split column, either by delimiter, number of characters, by position, lowercase to uppercase to lowercase, digit to non-digits, then non-digit to digit. So when they say by delimiter means something that separates it. For example, if you look at this column, this journal and ref column, the delimiter that we have here is this hyphen. So either space is delimiter, hyphen, semicolon, they are delimiter. But here, the best way that we want to make use of is better for us to use digits to non-digits method, so that it will at once split digits, that is these ones that are numbered, away from non-digits immediately, irrespective of the number of digits that are there or the number of non-digits that are there. So I'm going to use digit to non-digits. Click on it. Something is wrong. Yeah. So you can see that it has been splitted. So I make use of non-digits, that is non-digit started. Power query, when you want to separate, it starts from the left. So it's looked at non-digit towards the digits. You can see that it has separated them. That's how to split column using non-digits to digits. So assuming digits was the one that first that is it starts from the left, and you have non-digits towards the right side, you are going to use digits to non-digits. But in this case, we have, let me um cancel this and do it again so that you can see it. So non-digit started from the left, right? Then next is we have digits to the right. So we are going to use non-digit to digit to separate, split the column. So you can see we have splitted the column. So then you can now rename that. This first one is transaction description, while the other one is GL accounts. Yeah, we are fine. Then next is we need to split USD from amount. So here we can use digits to non-digit to split it. Let's do that. Yeah, it actually remove the decimal from there, which means that we can't make use this method. This is not what we want to achieve. So let's try another form of split column method. We can make use of by positions. If you can see the USD, okay, if you make use of by position, the numbers are not the same thing. Let's try another method. Number of character by delimiter. Let's try by delimiter. Let's use space to split it. Yeah, it has even identified space for us as a delimiter, right? So each occurrence of the delimiter, that's what we want to. So for every space that occur between the figures in this column here, split it. So and each occurrence of that's what is meant by each occurrence of delimiter. If we say rightmost delimiter, you will look at it, okay, the rightmost delimiter here is full stop dot. So if we choose rightmost delimiter, it's going to separate it. Wherever it sees dot, it's going to separate. But that's not what we want. We say the each occurrence of delimiter. So let's try that. Right. So as you can see, the USD has been separated from the numbers. So and of course we don't need this USD. So we are going to remove the column. Click on remove columns. So then this one is the amount. Next is that we need to do journal and ref. So we have to want to remove this reference away from it. So of course here we can make use of delimiter, which is this hyphen. This one is very clear. Click on split column by delimiter. Yeah, he said so we can do if the none of the limiter exists in the defined one here, we can do if we want to custom, that is we want to enter it by ourselves. So it automatically identify hyphen for us. So that's one of the sweet things in Power Query. It automatically once it can understand it can understand it easily. But if it does not, you know, you can always code whatever you want to code in it, then it will execute it. So we are making use of hyphen as the delimiter, then each occurrence of the delimiter, then you say okay, click on okay. But if look at this, it actually remove the codes that are there, but we also want this ref to be removed too because it's just like a repetition. We know it is ref and this code that we needed to remove. So what can we do? We can make use of position because if you notice this all the journal have the same number of characters, the journal code. So definitely the reposition for ref will be the same thing in in each of the code there. So now let's make use of by position. So it's now so that let us specify the position at which the split test column is going to occur. So the position we are now to specify that okay, what position is this ref? So the position is I'm trying to count the position 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So from tenth, right? So let's write 10. This is not what we want. I'm casting that step off. There's a need for us to remove this ref. Let's do number of characters. So, this R, the number of characters we want to remain here is 10, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Is 9. So, we write 9. Then, once as far left as possible, that is, as far left as possible, that is from the left, count 9 and retain them. So, we are going to make use of this. Hope we are following. Then you click on OK. You can see that I'm trying to check. It's not as if maybe I've looked at this data before, you know. I try all the possible means to achieve whatever I want to achieve. And that's why I said that the basic is very, very needed for you. Once you know how to navigate yourself within this, you just have to test what is possible and if it's actually achieve what if it will result to what you want. So that's why I didn't make it one way traffic. I would just say, okay, let's try this. Does it give what we want? So since this is what we want now, then we can now delete this column that we don't need again. Press your shift key down, then you highlight, then you click on remove columns. So we are fine. So we have the ID. Remember that we need to change the data type so that when we are doing visualization, our tool can be able to recognize data type in each column. So here is the date, here is the text, which is fine. GL account, their whole number, which is fine. Here, decimal number, here text. So we need to change the name. Here it's just journal and that's all. Then the user, their text. So let me check what we want to achieve. You can see that we are fine. But one thing is that this user is in capital letter. So we need to change it to capital letter. Where is it? Here. So in changing it to capital letter now, because you can see that some are in small letter while some are in capital letter, but we want to make everything to be in capital letter. So you go to transform, then you go to formats, then click on uppercase. Click on the drop down in the format, then click on uppercase. Everything will be turned to uppercase. So that's what we want to achieve and we are done. So mainly what we have just what we've learned here is majorly the split column function, and that's very, very important when you're doing Power Query. There are some data that, for look at that when GL account and transaction description was joined together, and that mostly occur on most of the softwares, those most accounting software that we have now. When you just download them, you see that the GL account and transaction description for the GL accounts will be together. So and Power BI and other visualization tool, they won't accept if a column is trying to describe more than one attribute. So with this, we've learnt about split column. So do we have any question?